Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 4 of the F1 2000 career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the Spanish Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live towards the end of last week from Circuit Park Zandvoort, I would highly recommend going back and checking out. We've had 3 races so far this campaign, and all of them have been absolutely ridiculous. It really has been one of the wildest starts I've ever had to a series on F1. We've had 3 winners from 3 different teams in your opening 3 Grand Prix as well. Myself leading the championship ahead of Jacques Villeneuve, who seems to make a return with Williams, and then Pedro de la Rosa in P3 in his Ferrari there. You can see Williams currently leading the Constructors' Championship as well. Yes, I know, for newer Formula 1 fans, that is a crazy, crazy stat to wrap your head around as well, but Williams genuinely at one point was this good in the F1 world. Will they be able to continue that on, though, as we head into Barcelona this weekend? It's going to be a tricky track, but I think it might suit our car just a little bit more as well. Get yourself subscribed if you're new. We're trying to hit 140,000 subscribers currently on the channel, and yeah, let's head out then straight into qualifying. Well, here we are then heading out then to a very, very important qualifying session here in Barcelona, because this one, I think it's going to be very, very difficult for the car to make overtakes as we head into the Grand Prix. Of course, unfortunately, we have to still use the old version of Barcelona inside this series, so we've got that horrible final sector, but McLaren, Ferrari and Williams all are going to be in the hunt today. We saw our teammate Johnny Herbert last weekend get on the front row. Luckily for BAR, we've got 3 very high downforce circuits in a row with Zandvoort, Spain, and of course next time out we'll be heading back to Monaco. So yeah, it is hopefully going to be another stronger qualifying session for us. Of course, got our first top 10 qualifying of the year last weekend. As you can see, there's Johnny Herbert temporarily bumping himself up to the front of the order. So I think we've seen, yeah, Williams, McLaren and BAR all at some point on this lap provisionally fastest. But are we going to see our closest championship rival, Jacques Villeneuve even, storm to pole position here as we try and put the power down up in towards the final sector of the lap? I believe as well, for the first time all season, I know I said it to Zandvoort, but we actually shouldn't be getting any rain today either, which is always nice to come back to sunny Spain. Through the final couple of corners though, easy, easy, easy on the throttle. It is so easy still to light it up out of that final corner. Villeneuve is going to claim pole position though, after winning last weekend. We only good enough for P8. Well, Jacques Villeneuve then storms to pole position by just 0.03 of a second ahead of Pedro de la Rosa. Our teammate Johnny Herbert there able to get between the Ferraris as McLaren really struggled in the end. We just seem to lack a little bit of qualifying pace. I do set my car up though for races inside this game. They're ahead of both Jordans and the Jaguars. Mika Salo ahead of his teammate Jean Alesi. And then unfortunately it is Giancarlo Fisichella right at the rear of the field there. Jenson Button and qualifying Damon Hill as well. We're just starting to see more and more of the younger Brits come through.
Welcome along then to what promises to be another fascinating Spanish Grand Prix. Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya then, a high-speed 2.89-mile circuit which demands an efficient downforce package and bravery on the part of the driver, especially through the blind right of turn 9, which we might just see taken flat this weekend. Now, Anthony Davidson, I wonder, might we be in for some early pit stops today from the midfield teams, all trying to put some pressure on or disrupting things for the leaders up front?
If you're in the middle of the pack, you know, you got your own race to run. I don't think they're going to be thinking about causing trouble up front. However, closer to the head of the pack, don't be surprised to see some split strategies. If you're running second and third, for example, bringing one car in for an undercut while leaving the other one out there longer can put a lot of pressure on the leader and maybe force them into an error.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going.
Well, with a fully dry race ahead of us then, or at least it's meant to be, the biggest thing I want to know today is, will McLaren actually be able to see themselves to the checkered flag? Of course, all 3 Grand Prix so far, those cars have either started to run out of fuel or have completely run out of fuel towards the end of a race. So maybe in fully dry conditions, that car is going to be a little bit more economical this weekend. We line up, though, down in P8. We've got a lot of work to do. Qualifying has not been our strong point this year, But hopefully with a good race ahead of us, we can still try and score big points, especially when my big rival is lining up on pole. It is 5 red lights on the grid. And it's going to be lights out, and away we go. They're trying to put the power down as best as possible. Looks like our teammate hasn't done particularly well there, as Coulthard will cover off from his teammate Hakkinen. And look at Alexander Wirtz getting the run down towards someone. Schumacher as well, trying to look around the outside of Pedro De La Rosa. There's almost contact between the Austrian and the Scotsman just in front of me. Round the outside of Hakkinen will try to go, though, as he gets a big wobble off out of turn 3. And we will move up then into P7 off the start there. So a pretty clean, tidy getaway for us. Jacques Villeneuve, though, absolutely controlling the pace at the front of the field. Let's not forget as well, this is Pedro De La Rosa's home Grand Prix. So he'll be looking to try and get a big result as well this weekend. So yeah, immediately just trying to settle in with the car there. You can see David Coulthard. Yeah, not the best start in the world for him. Kind of screwed over his teammate in the end. Watching that McLaren in these opening few races, it is really not as stable as, say, the Williams or our car is. There we go, proven. Coulthard, big mistake out through Kampser. That's going to leave him once again vulnerable, as Wirtz and Coulthard for the second time this lap almost bang wheels there. Somehow Coulthard will hang on as Wirtz gets a bit of wobble behind, and we will say thank you very much. And the outside of the Williams car, not quite able to put the power down there though. These things are still tricky to drive there, as round the outside will go again. Not going to give up on it on Alexander Wirtz. By the end of lap 1, we have gained 2 spots, which is really exactly what we needed. But yeah, Jacques Villeneuve though still leading the way. Not ideal for us. Oh no, I mean, you can see the speed Alexander Wirtz has got there, back down towards turn 1. Luckily, we'll be able to pinch him to the apex just a little bit. So we've got yellows out. I think someone behind us might have ran into problems. I could do with a safety car, to be honest, early on. We're running slightly down on, or burning through more fuel than I was really hoping for. So that might be something to have to manage later on in the race. But early on, for the first time this season, really doesn't feel like I've got the pace in this car. I'm watching Herbert just slowly pull away, and I can't even challenge Coulthard. Well, we are setting personal bests each and every lap. You can just see by the time we get back down to turn 1, Wirtz there, I mean, every single time he's pressuring me, and it's just not allowing us to really confidently focus on Coulthard in front. Luckily, I've worked out we can use Lean Mix 1 through the final sector, and that'll basically mean we're not burning through any extra fuel than I need to be. So, Coulthard, another mistake there. That'll bring us closer to the McLaren. Like I said, that thing, so unstable. It just looks like such a handful all the time. McLaren is a team, you know, I'd like to move to at some point in this series, but I don't think with that car. Oh, there we go. Finding a bit more confidence then as we slowly move in. I mean, the Ferraris and Jacques Villeneuve, though, at the front of the field, they're running like mid to high 24s. I was pretty happy with that lap, and it was a 25.6, but maybe, just maybe, that's giving me the breathing room over Wirtz that I need. We can try and focus on getting the Coulthard here. Still reckon if things went our way, we could get past Johnny Herbert by the end. But yeah, I think we're just starting to see Ferrari and Williams flex their muscles, stretch their legs early on, as we've already got our first casualty of the day. Looks like then one of the Bernardis going up in smoke very, very early on in the afternoon. I believe that's Jenson Button, who's our first casualty in his second DNF so far of the year. Not the season for JB. Or perhaps McLaren need to try this out then. We're running Lean Mix, and it's actually seemingly making us quicker at the moment. There's a little bit of a wobble there by Coulthard out in the final corner. We'll still use Rich Revs back down towards turn 1 as Pedro De La Rosa already in for a very early pit stop in this Grand Prix. You can just see Coulthard, though, has got the legs on me in a straight line. But yeah, rest of the lap, I'm using Lean Mix 1, and it's actually not seemingly making much difference. Using that curve through turn 2 absolutely will, but clearly then Ferrari trying to try some different strategies here. De La Rosa already into the pit lane. He's going to re-emerge, I think, still ahead of Hakkinen. But why on earth are we seeing AI2 stop? Our tyres are on barely 15% wear. Oh, Coulthard's in. Why on earth are the AI pitting so early? What on earth are some of the Bridgestone runners doing here? As we're going to inherit then up to P4 and even P3. As Johnny Herbert and Jacques Villeneuve stay in front of me. So this is clearly, what, Michelin versus Bridgestone? I guess, no, Coulthard's on Michelin's, isn't he, as well? So, very, very weird what's going on early on this afternoon. I guess we get some free track space, though, to try and hunt down our teammate. But yeah, with De La Rosa then back out in P5, admittedly, he's less than 12 seconds behind me. Could still be a threat by the end of the afternoon. But Jacques Villeneuve, if he is one-stopping, he's got a huge opportunity. I'm trying to monitor the gap then to the other cars around us. It looks like we're pretty even, if not slightly quicker than Jacques Villeneuve right now, as a new personal best of the day comes in. We've definitely got the pace over Johnny Herbert and Alexander Wurz. Della Rosa, though, behind is absolutely flying along in that Ferrari. As there you go, another half a second clear of myself. So Ferrari are still looking very, very racy here. But I mean, yeah, Villeneuve's got a 20-second lead over Pedro. He would need to basically go a second a lap faster every single lap if you wanted to have a look at him by the end of the afternoon. I mean, it's the most Ferrari call you might ever see on this game. But Ferrari back in the early 2000s actually had a strategy department. But what we're very quickly learning as well is, for me, it's kind of the fuel usage that really dictates the pace. When I use like standard and rich revs, we can take close to a second out of our teammate. When I'm only using lean though, the gap does open up slightly, so it does make a big difference. Fuel management here is really, really important. I guess the bigger question for us is, do I think I've got a shot at Jacques Villeneuve by the end of the afternoon? If I do, then we kind of got to try and keep burning that fuel a little bit more aggressively. If not, it might be worth just focusing on the gap to like Pedro Della Rosa behind, kind of falling back towards him and then having enough fuel to battle him. It's a really, really interesting race, and I'm happy that we've just got an interesting race for the sake of it, rather than just chaos kind of forcing interest out of it, if you get what I mean. Well, things might be about to get incredibly awkward down at BAR. The car behind is currently lapping quicker than the car in front, and not by a huge amount, but definitely a noticeable chunk each and every lap. I mean, you can see just out of the final corner how much we're fighting with it to try and keep it pointing in the right direction. But Johnny Herbert, I don't know when he's going to pit yet. I have a very, very difficult call to make as a team there. Of course, he's played the number 2 to Michael Schumacher in years gone by. He desperately wants to try and showcase to BAR what he's capable of as well. But we are leading the championship, let's not forget. Well, I think we're definitely just starting to overwork these tyres a bit too much towards the end of the stint. Maybe leaning on that traction control a little bit too aggressively as well. We know Michelin have brought some very hard compound tyres this weekend to try and handle all of the aggression required to get a car around this Catalonia circuit. But yeah, unless Johnny Herbert decides to peel in, I think we're going to box at the end of this lap. We make our way, though, down in towards the final couple of corners. I think Jacques Villeneuve is into the pit lane then. We're going to hop, skip, and jump over the curbing into the pit lane. But we are just about going to make it in then. So Johnny Herbert opts to stay out one extra one. Just want to make sure I don't get done for pit lane speeding. But yeah, very, very difficult here at the moment. Trying to find a limit in this car and making it work for us. But now we've got to try and get the undercut on our teammate as well. That could make things a little less awkward towards the end of the afternoon. There's a pretty clean, tidy 2.8 second pit stop. Where are we going to come out relative to the McLarens? That's the other one.
No more scheduled pit stops.
Where are those McLarens? They really have been a bit quiet this afternoon, and we've actually stayed out ahead of them then. So the undercut has not worked for them. In fact, Coulthard... Oh no, he is still ahead of Hakkinen, sorry. But yeah, McLaren, they are really in the doldrums right now. This new car of theirs is not working. On one lap later, then, Johnny Herbert is going to peel into the pit lanes. So as we round our way through the final couple of corners, this is going to be moment of truth time between me and our teammate there. I'm not convinced I've done enough, but we did go purple through the middle sector as well, which hopefully will bring us a little bit closer to him as we try and roll on that throttle out the final corner. I still don't know, to be completely honest, obviously what Ferrari are planning on doing to the end of the afternoon. As well, make sure we're still ahead of Alexander Wurz then. Ferrari are up into the lead of the Grand Prix. They've got a 1-2 at the front of the field. We've still come out behind Johnny, but if things were to end like this, but if, yeah, Della Rosa, Villeneuve and I would be covered by about 5 points. Well, our teammate as well really likes to opt for a much lower downforce setup than the one I like to run on this car. So as we make our way out in the final corner, you're about to see just how much of a straight line speed advantage that gives him. We get a better run off that final corner, so we've almost hit new fast lap of the day, and already you can just see Johnny Herbert getting away from me back down towards turn 1. A bit like we saw with Coulthard earlier on. We're going to have to wait for a mistake or something to try and happen here, or we keep trying to apply the pressure to him and just see if we can force the error. Yellows, we've got yellows. They've gone back to green again. Have we got someone with issues? That Villeneuve there, I don't think he's dropping back at all. Might be a car in front of us, though. Could be a lapped car for all I know. Can't see anything flashing up at the moment as we bobble our way over the sausage curbs. Problem as well I've got is the AI seem to be able to springboard themselves out of that penultimate corner. We do gain a little bit back through the final turn. No issues for anybody in front, though. I guess Villeneuve is just trying to hunt down those Ferraris. Come on, more blue flags. Nick Heidfeld, and I believe that might be Jos Verstappen in the way in front. No, it is Giancarlo Fisichella. So, yeah, I just nicked the wheel over the curb there. That might be a warning. Nope, we'll get away with it. We were very lucky there. Just got a bit wedged out. And unfortunately, that cost me a big moment. As there we go, Pedro de la Rosa back into the pit lane then. So, Ferrari unable to get those cars to the end of the race. Heidfeld's going to try and use our teammate to get the run around the outside of Giancarlo. But hopefully both of them are going to get out of my way there as well. They both do move. A little bit sketchy from Nick Heidfeld. Again, we've got to be careful of the damage model. But De La Rosa, 8.4 seconds back. So this strategy not working for Ferrari yet. Unless Schumacher can somehow stay out till the end. There we go, Michael Schumacher 1 lap later into the pit lane here as we're going to try and get a bit closer to our teammate Johnny Herbert. It is Bridgestone versus Michelin at this stage of the afternoon, though, as you can just see again our teammate able to get the run on me back down towards turn 1. But if we could move back up into P2, I would take that. Jacques Villeneuve, he looks like he's set to become our first repeat winner of the year. Ferrari and McLaren, they have been the big teams over the last couple of seasons. But it does not seem to be their way so far in 2000. BAR, Williams have both shown up, and it is really creating some interesting drama. Will we find a way around Herbert, though? We've only got 10 laps to go. Johnny Herbert, yeah, back to lap the man he replaced at Benetton all those years ago. Will Jos Verstappen make it easy for him? And to obviously give way to World Championship machinery that he has never really seen again there as Jos. He's just about starting to move there. He does get out of the way. He actually gives Johnny quite a slipstream as well. And almost runs into the back of myself down in towards the hairpin. You have got to be careful with the AI in this mod doing that. It's happened before. They'll just mistime it behind you and completely careen into the back of you and ruin your afternoon. But as we are still, you can see how much I'm trying to explore the venue for grip to try and get around Herbert here. No idea what's happened to Ferrari as well. I can only assume that they've been held up a little bit in the traffic further back. As I mean, this is the closest we've been to Johnny Herbert this time round. Back down towards turn 1. Surely we've got to try and have a look for it on our teammate. Down the inside we'll go. Big late diving manoeuvre there, but we keep it between the white lines. Herbert will come back at me though on the exits. We can't quite gather it up. And he'll still be in front as we make our way through turn 3. Try and put the power down again. This middle sector is really where we can come alive around this venue. You can see, again, the high downforce package on our car working wonders here to allow us to really hang right underneath his gearbox there. Lucky Strike logos all over both cars. You can see we've got 2 more slower cars as well. Looks like it's both Saubers there of Hill and Lacey. Just trying to put the power back down up the hill again. This is dramatic stuff towards the end of the afternoon, and I absolutely love it there. Damon Hill, he'll get out of the way for our teammate. Will he get out of the way for me? Yes, he just about will, and again, be careful. Just double check your mirrors that the AI won't run into the back of you. Jarno Trulli next up as well, having a pretty good afternoon of it. Let's see where he's going to let us by. Is he going to let us by particularly easy there? Jarno, obviously still very inexperienced. As we navigate our way through the final couple of corners, I think he's just about going to have enough there. So a little bit of a moment again through that final corner, but so does our teammate Johnny Herbert. And once more then, as we make our way down towards turn 1, both of us are getting a nice slipstream off of the back of the Sauber car. Will he let us by? Yes, he will. Like I said back at the start of the season, I wanted to prove ourselves against a real teammate. Once and for all inside this series. No, a proven race winner. Another really, really good driver. Yeah, I know we spoke about it before. Johnny Herbert IRL absolutely deserved more from his Formula 1 career. He could have easily been a multiple world champion had he not had that Formula 3000 crash. But at the moment, he is still delivering here as well. We had a look down the inside. Herbert, though, able to cover us off later on the brakes around the outside. Last thing, obviously, we want is for both cars to come together as we will mash that throttle down out of the final corner. desperately trying to hang on to the steering wheel. And once again, can we get the run back down towards turn 1? We are inching closer to our teammate. Are we going to be able to close enough to have a look? No, we're not. And just a little bit of contact there. We lose a bit of our front wing as well. We get a warning for the collision. It's lucky it didn't take both cars out of the Grand Prix. And just pushing too hard, too aggressively. We have faced the consequences there, and both Ferraris, I'm sure, are going to be able to get back past me. Not convinced it's worth pitting by the end. I think, yeah, we can stay out, but we're going to lose a lot of time. If only I could see how far back the McLarens were. As there we go, De La Rosa will get around me. Alex Wurz, I completely forgot about the Austrian as well, of course. He's still running in this Grand Prix and not a bad spot. But I think, yeah, if I don't pit now, he'd get ahead of me anyway. So Pedro De La Rosa looks like he's going to move back into the podium places. Michael Schumacher forced to just get stuck behind me as we make our way through the final couple of corners. I'll tell the team put a new front wing on as well. No, Schumacher, I'm trying to pit. And we got a safety car. What on earth is Michael Schumacher doing there? We're trying to get ourselves into the pit lane. The German, as a look down the inside, refuses to back out of it. And his terrible start to the year just goes from bad to worse. We've created more drama right towards the end of the afternoon. I guess for us it might be a little bit of a saving grace, to be completely honest, as we've got to serve that 5-second penalty first and foremost. Frentzen 40 seconds back though, so I'm hoping we'll come out ahead of him. We should still be inside the top 10. Will we be ahead of Frentzen? I don't think we will. No, there he goes. So back out then, I believe, in P8 of the Grand Prix. But what an absolute disaster. Well, let's ride on board then with Michael Schumacher here. His teammate Pedro De La Rosa has already made it by. And you can see originally he tries to get a run down in towards the final complex of corners there. You can see we are just all over the place, struggling to try and get the car planted. I think he senses a switchback, but surely at that point he's got to back out of it. How on earth we don't retire from the Grand Prix as well? But I mean, look at this. He gets down the inside, but you can see we're trying to move over to the pit lane. In my mind, this is when you just brake, nudge the brake, back out of it, let me go, and then try and get on with it. Instead, he decides just to try and continue turning at me. I mean, he's barely got the car alongside. It could have been a very simple braking manoeuvre there for him. But Schumacher into the back of me. He's out of the Grand Prix. And I tell you what, if I know Michael at all, he will not be happy. 2 laps to go then of this Grand Prix. Safety car is being clawed back in again. For some reason the game isn't letting me keep up. And I'm expecting there to be chaos after this restart, because half the field are a lap up on the other half. Jacques Villeneuve had lapped so many cars up to this point that now, yeah, it is going to be carnage trying to work out and reorder everybody as we get ready to go green flag racing once again. It's still going to be the Williams at the front of the field. Maybe Johnny Herbert has got a lifeline here to try and get back in that fight. But as we round our way out of the final corner, we want to try and get back around the around a couple of cars before this race is down and out. And the first one is going to be Heinz-Harald Frentzen then. Not with the straight line speed of that Jordan though, back in towards turn 1. Frentzen is going to immediately pull away from me there, as I think Button just doesn't want to have anything to do with any of it down towards someone. Hakkinen gets a big wobble as well out of the first corner. And we've got yellow flags out temporarily, but they go away pretty quick. Fisichella now trying to move out the way. We're trying to look down the inside of Frentzen as well, who's not afraid to put us in a very dangerous situation there. Damon Hill, Jos Verstappen even, everybody's trying to jump out. As we'll go down the inside of Frentzen into the next corner, return the favour. Hakkinen's still running up in P6 there. Could we see McLaren actually get to the end in one piece there? As I completely forgot about Stewart as well. What on earth is that? Hakkinen just getting a little bit caught out. I think that was behind Jarno Trulli there off the chicane, and we will take another one then, so thank you very much. Salo is desperately trying to defend the last point as well from Rubens Barrichello here, but I think basically now everybody in front has navigated their way through some of the slower traffic, so if we could get closer to Coulthard and Wirtz by the end, I would be very, very happy here. But 1 lap to go of the Spanish Grand Prix. I mean, this has been well, like I said, an absolutely chaotic restart, but hopefully we're going to be able to survive just one more outing here. I mean, as long as we get to the line, we should actually still guarantee ourselves some points from this race, which would be good. As Mika Salo then drag racing with the Arrows car back down towards turn 1. Luckily, we're going to be able to make that move work right the way around the outside. But yeah, are we going to potentially be able to get close enough to Wirtz and Coulthard? Could we see McLaren once again run into fuel problems there. As you can see how much we're hanging the car off the exit there. We've got another driver out. We've got 2 more drivers out. That's Hakkinen. What on earth has happened? We're riding aboard then with Mika Hakkinen back down towards turn 1 there. The McLaren driver on the very last lap of the Grand Prix just dips a wheel over the curb. And the Jaguar behind him unable to avoid the accident there. Let's take a look from, I believe this was Jan Magnussen's point of view. Just try and find him quickly up and down the roster. Of course, with the lap traffic, it is a bit more difficult to do. But you can just see, yeah, here we go. Jan Magnussen makes his way through turn 1. He sees Mika get the wobble, and nowhere for him to go on the exit of the corner. And both drivers out on the very last lap of the Grand Prix. As we make our way then in towards the final half a lap here, chaos for Mika Hakkinen behind us. And a couple of other drivers there. Alexander Wurz, though, still trying to hang on from David Coulthard. Let's not forget, we've got much, much fresher tyres than the 2 in front of us here, as it looks like Jacques Villeneuve is going to become our first repeat winner of the season. Try and put the power down up the hill, but where are we going to be able to look for a move there as Wurz just gets a little bit of a wobble? Coulthard desperately trying to hang on in that McLaren. It looks like they finally are going to be able to finish the race with fuel. It's down the inside of DC. We're going to go. He jumps out of the way through the second part of the chicane. More pain for McLaren on that final lap. Villeneuve will take the win. Alex Wurz is slow, but it is only good enough for P5.
Talk to me, Ant. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
They performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everyone at the team.
Well, there we go then. Jacques Villeneuve takes the win here at Barcelona, ahead of our teammate Johnny Herbert. First podium of the year for him, and Pedro De La Rosa does get a home race podium as well. There, Wurz, myself, Coulthard, Frentzen, Magnussen, and even though Hakkinen, yeah, obviously had that retirement on the last lap, they're still able to walk away with a couple of points as well. There, Salo finishes out your top 10. Once again, somehow Mika Salo able to scrape together a couple of points from the result. That, though, means Jacques Villeneuve is 4 points ahead of me in the drivers' table. Pedro De La Rosa as well, closing in that gap at the top of the standings there. Wurz and Herbert, admittedly, are not a million miles away either, as still Mika Salo ahead of Rubens Barrichello, Michael Schumacher, Hakkinen, and David Coulthard so far this season. He is having the season of his life there, and long may it continue. Only now we've got Button, Schumacher, and Jos Verstappen still yet to get off of the starting blocks, and constructors-wise, Williams now with an 18-point lead over BAR there. Arrow's still ahead of McLaren, as Ferrari are in a pretty safe P3. Every team, though, has scored points after 4 Grand Prix, which is rather impressive as well there. Yeah, Jordan, by courtesy of Frentzen, they're getting their first points on the board as well. But thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns ready for the Monaco Grand Prix.